Everybody, and welcome to the United League Championship Tier 1 at Japan. It's round 8 of the season, and we could see a champion crowned today. And that is because the Flying Finn, 35-point lead currently over RG Matiz. So if he scores 15 more points than him today, he will be crowned the champion, because I believe that he'll have more wins. So I think if he scores 15 more with a win, I think he confirms the championship today. And joining me is Bosley.
Yeah, hello, I'm happy to be here for tonight's race. Quick note on championship, it might be a bit early to say this, but I don't think Finn will win it tonight. Bit of a quick one to jump into. I can't see him outscoring Matiz by 15 points, but anything can happen tonight, James.
Yeah, obviously we saw last week Matiz DNFing, but before then Matiz had a 100% podium record, so certainly unlikely that we'll see Matiz down there, but yeah, repeat of last week would be enough. But yeah, we've seen some great battles throughout the season between those two drivers, and it is a shame that last week in Singapore ended up kind of damping down that championship battle, but I'm sure that we'll see a great battle between those guys today. And we've also seen the return of SDS F1 Alonso, who couldn't make it last week. He was fielded by Cyril Hamilton, who actually managed to complete the podium, doing a very good job himself. But yeah, Sully is joined by his brother today at SDS, and AOR are back at full strength as well, with an LRR Evo coming in for this race after they only had Matiz in Singapore. They were missing a driver there. Unfortunately, we still do have a number of drivers missing. We've only got 16 guys, but that's a little bit better than last week. I think drivers struggling to fill in the gaps, so they're putting their drivers in Tier 2 instead of in Tier 1, which is obviously a great shame. But nevertheless, we've got the main guys here, and we've had some really good racing throughout the season, and I'm sure that this one will be another good race. We haven't seen any lap times posted yet. This is a long old track, isn't it? So it takes a while for cars to get by. And Matiz has opened the bar. Do you have any idea of what a quick time is?
No, not really.
Not really.
Honestly, no.
I would imagine Matiz's time is a pretty competitive one. That guy's started a long way. And yeah, who's your tip for the pole and the win today?
Well, I might be wrong, but I think this is meant to be one of Matiz's best tracks. But obviously it's not going to be an easy one to beat Finn. I think I'm actually going to say Matiz for pole and win today instead of just saying Finn.
Yep. And yeah, Matiz has picked up 2 wins so far this season, and as I said, 100% podium record up until now. Flying Finn goes just under a tenth of a second behind, but yeah, Matiz has got that one for now. And then we've got a further 2 tenths back to SDS F1 Alonso, and then another 2 tenths back to Evo. So this is more spread out than we usually see, actually. It's been very close in the past between those top guys. But yeah, personally I'm not sure on who's on the pace exactly at all these tracks, but yeah, I do know Matiz's better tracks, so they're on for a good one today. And let's try and find someone else who's on a lap. Most people cooling down at the moment now. Oh, Matiz is going for another one.
Just that lap.
Yeah, wow, that's a very good time.
Yeah, it's done 4, yeah. Finn isn't, Alonso isn't, I don't think Evo is either, so everyone else sticking on their laps. But Matiz improves his time by another 10th there.
So yeah, I kind of assumed that he wasn't going to be going for another run, so it's alright, I've missed that lap. While I'm trying to find someone else, but I was just trying to find someone to go on board with. I think I've left it too late, sorry, to go with a quick onboard lap. We'll have to do that on the second runs. But only 10 cars setting a lap so far, with halfway through the session now, so people leaving it late. And obviously that extra pressure then, isn't it? Yeah, he's just completing it now. Through 130R into the final chicane. And RBZ has kind of been in and out of this seat this season, hasn't he? So, not sure what his situation is completely now, but he goes into 9th position. I had seen him in the chat. He's not very confident about today. SRO in a comfortable third position, aren't they, in the championship? So it doesn't particularly matter if they don't have good races. But we haven't seen an SRO win, have we, so far? I think I'm right. I think they've all been SDS and AOR wins. So that's something that SRO will probably hope for, won't they?
Yeah. It has been, like, the wins have been mainly dominated by SGS and AOR, but maybe we can see a outside win from one of the SRL drivers, but I think it'd be quite unlikely at this point.
Yeah, certainly those STS and AOR guys doing a really good job, aren't they? They've that consistency as well from those guys, very tough to see, but it's good to see those quality drivers. Obviously, actually, we've just been looking at, and again, he's another driver going for 2 laps, it appears, or he's just doing a very quick in lap because he thinks he can improve and isn't worried about the tyres. But he is now coming once again into a 130R now. Looking pretty tight from kind of 7th to 9th. Those guys probably the closest so far from what we've seen. Obviously, it is coming around. No, he is coming into the pit, so obviously he is confident of improving. Oh, Monkey Face Plays. We've just got on board with him just as he's crashed. That's not gone well there for the FRL driver. And, oh, that could be his session over, couldn't it? He could be starting right from the back of the grid. Because there's only 3 minutes 45 left, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it'll be a tough one for him to get back into the bit, to get tyres changed and get back out again, so he could be finishing the session.
Yeah, that's obviously not too bad with 16 drivers, and let's be honest, he's not one of the high qualifiers usually, but losing out on a few places there that he could have got. I think he's trying to get around as quickly as possible, but it's going to be one heck of a rush for him. Right, so obviously I've asked you for your prediction for the win. I'm now going to be asking the chat. I want to see what the chat think. Should have a fair idea of the order by now. So I want some of you guys to try and give your predictions, just so we get the idea of who's the fan favourite out there, and also what people think. We do have the guys currently on outlaps now for their second runs. Arju Matiz is just in front of the Flying Finn out on track. So those guys are going to have very similar track conditions. No one going earlier or later. And VRT Callum is going to be the first guy to start a lap. So we will now ride on board with that. And do you just want to talk us through this lap then?
Yeah, okay, so Callum currently in 8th place. Well, my amazement is maybe you can get improvement. They're going to come through turn 1 in 5th gear. Going to come up to 6th, little shift down to 5th there. I think, like I said, he only needs a very minor improvement to jump the amazement, although maybe you can make a bigger one and get above the amazement. For TWRL, I come to the end of the first sector, 32-2. I don't quite know what that was compared to what he did before. He did 31, then he's up by 10th. So come through this hairpin, major lock up there. It was a bit wide, but maybe this will give him a good run all the way down into Spoon Curve. Now takes it quite nicely. I don't really know, to be honest. I'm not quite sure what the ideal line is through Spoon even, but didn't look too bad. Come to the end of the second sector now. Not actually being told what time to do, which is lovely. He's up by about 6/10 now, Callum, so if he keeps us together through this final chicane, he could be on for a good improvement here. Going to come down to the line. I'm going to put himself up into 6th place now with a 28.2. If you're going for another one, James, but that was a good lap.
Okay, so now we've seen obviously a lap and lots of tricky corners here, but Matiz now coming towards the end of his particular lap. 40 seconds to go. He does improve, not massively though, so Finn is able to beat him by over 1/10 of a second. Is Matiz going for another lap? Yes, they're both going for another lap. Fly has taken the end with that lap, but They're both going for another one, so it is not game over yet for those guys. We've also got SDS F1 Alonso coming through the final chicane now as well. And that second SDS car, what can he do? He stays in third, but improves his time, putting him further ahead of Evo now. The checkered flag is out, so we won't be seeing any more guys starting lap. It's just about people completing. Evo is going to be the first one. He's only going to have one run as compared to two from the top three guys, and he doesn't improve either, I don't think. Oh no, he did, sorry, but not very much. Alonso is out of the session. He's gone wide somewhere, so he is out of contention for pole. It is looking like it is going to be between the two guys that we thought it was going to be then, RG Matiz and also the Flying Finn. Matiz still going here into 130R. He's going to be pushing all he can now, and going into the final chicane. Really good exit now, just to get all the lap time he can get. Second lap on these tyres, so they won't have quite the grip. But has he managed to improve? Yes, he has, but it's not enough. 0.08 of a second behind. Flying Finn does extend that advantage ever so slightly, but still a very small margin between those guys. And we're just waiting now for the last few people to complete their laps. We've got the Amazement down in 11th, and then Beeper Midget in 13th. They're going to be completing their laps very close together, I think, if I'm correct. No, we've got the Amazement coming in and Beeper Midget not changing in position. So there we go, that is the end of qualifying, and yeah, very close between those two guys, but it is the Flying Finn who has come out on top in qualifying, but certainly we're looking forward to a very close race now.
Yeah, so I was actually wrong with my prediction. It is just falling short of Finn. Yeah, I do agree that this will be a very close race. If I remember correctly, I think that these two finished 1/10 apart in AOR Tier 1. So there should be a very close race between these two. Oh, I'm seeing Matisse taking a wonderful slide after being pushed around the track by all-rounder.
Oh, crikey.
What is good up here then?
Some very interesting driving by the AI in Tier 2, and we're seeing more of it now.
Yeah, I don't know how Matisse managed to keep it, I mean, going straight with that slide, but sure. Yeah, going to this race, I think it will be very close.
Yep. So we are now ready to get underway. We've got the Flying Finn on par, it is in second, very close between those two. Then a bit of a gap back to Alonso, then NRR Evo, Feisty Ted in a solid 5th position, VRT Callum 6th, Arctic Avenger in 7th, that's a good result for him. RBZ in 8th, EVR Reynolds the sole F1 Link driver in 9th, Jork 10th, Amazement 11th, Allrounder 12th, Midget 13th, Sturm, Monkey Face Plays, and ESR Simon round off the rest of the grid. ESR Simon, I forgot to mention, has a qualifying ban, so that Monkey Face Plays had a spin on his particular run. Okay, so we are now gearing up for the start of this race, and let's see, I think this is going to be one of... pretty much every week seems like it is, but I think we're going to see a mighty battle here once again between RG Matiz and the Flying Finn.
Yeah, obviously we were very close last week until until Matiz, I don't actually remember what happened to Matiz last week, but I remember it was quite close.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, mind blank, but I remember it was close, and I was extremely close in qualifying, 300ths apart, so let's see what these can do. Obviously, it is AOR and SGS locking out the front four, as we usually see, so it looks like an outside with SRL won't be happening today, James.
No, honestly, I don't think anyone will win, but yeah, I was just kind of throwing it out there. Right, we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are underway once again. It is the Flying Finn leading away from pole position, but it doesn't look like he's had a great start. RG Matiz is already alongside him. He's got the inside line going into turn 1, and RG Matiz is going to try to get through, but Flying Finn holding it round the outside, really not giving up that position, and Flying Finn manages to hold the lead. Fantastic bravery from him to go around the outside of RG Matiz. I was sure that he'd lost that position going into turn 1, but he's managed to keep it. We've got SDS F1 Alonso remaining in third, but a little bit of action going on behind there. We've got Arctic Avenger and RBZ going side by side. Other than that, it looks like it's been a pretty clean start, although we do have Feisty 10 VRT Callum going side by side, which could have ended very badly going into the Degners, but thankfully Callum did the sensible thing and backed off. Jork, 94, something has happened to him. Let's see what has happened there. No, he's just obviously had a bit of an incident. No damage for him. But yeah, that is a bit of a shame for him. Obviously, second place last time out in Singapore.
I mean, I've been running on board with Reynolds for most of this first lap. Reynolds has been lagging all over the place on my screen, going into walls and then bouncing back onto the track. Has been quite hilarious watching Reynolds go all over the place. It is still very close to Finn. He's going to get really close. He's going to go for a move on the outside. Maybe he could try and get a bit of a switch back. Finn goes quite late into that far corner. He's not going to have DRS yet. We'll see if we can get Matiz into... No, see if we can get Finn even into turn 1.
Look at this, it's really close. Alonso's trying to get his nose in there as well. RG Matiz now has got that outside line that worked for Finn last time out. But Alonso tries to chuck it up the inside. The two go side by side and RG Matiz manages to hold on. So no position changes in the top 6 in this first lap, but still remaining extremely close between these top 4 guys. Matiz right on the back of Finn with Alonso and Evo there for company as well. And I think everyone through without damage this lap. The pits, which is 15 people still in contention at the moment for the points, which is very good to see. That's exactly what we want. And RBZ looks like he's on a bit of a move here. Is he looking down the inside into the hairpin? And I'm surprised he's got alongside there. Callum going a little bit wide. And RBZ certainly making a very good start. Made up one position. He's looking very close to making up another one.
Yeah, RBZ looking to get on this racing game position. I think the amazement had some sort of incident at turn 1. I'm sure he was higher than 15. I think he's dropped down to 15. So.
Oh yeah, he's gone from 11th to 15th, down 4 places. That is the other XRL driver. We saw problems for Jork, but yeah, something has happened to the amazement as well. So both XRL drivers in a spot of bother here early on in the race. And now it's about that time in the race that we start checking the tyres. Super softs there for most people, but a few medium round assignment and amazement on those soft compound tyres. So a little bit of a mixture, but most people on super softs. Matiz just had a really big moment there. I'm not sure if that was lag or not. Surely it was. He looked like he was doing a Tokyo Drift there. Which obviously is very topical for Japan. But yeah, no major changes here. And I think these cars are starting to spread out a little bit. We've got almost half a second between these guys. And Reynolds is now battling with All-Rounder in that battle for 9th position. It's Reynolds that has managed to keep hold of that position. And the two EVR drivers not obviously competing as a team in this, so able to really have a go at each other, despite being in the same esports team. Oh, we got a change here as well. Jork up a position. He's making his way through. Up another position now into 12th. Making progress back towards the points. Rounders now got past Reynolds. But he has picked up a time
We've got penalty in the process.
Yeah, did you see what happened there?
No.
No, neither did I. Never mind. Right, let's go back to the front now. Because Miranda has made up that position. All-rounder looking, Evo looking very close to Alonso here in the battle for 3rd. Flying Fiend sets another fastest lap. And Evo looking very strong here on this particular lap. And really challenging Alonso, who's dropped back to a 2nd behind Matiz, despite challenging him into turn 1 last time out. So it is looking like those top 2 guys have got that little bit of advantage still as we move on to the race.
Yeah, they're pulling away. Like I said, Evo was really challenging Alonso, but I mean, it is sort of a hard track to overtake Japan. It's not really that hard because there's some good points, but the main thing exactly is through. Yeah, I think we should see a fair few moves. I think Simon has got back past Monkey Face Plays and he's now got amazement all over the back of him. Edwin can't go around the outside there, but Simon made a good start after starting from the back because of his quality band, but now dropping back a few positions.
Yeah, that's obviously last week. If we're honest, he's got this qualifying ban for for picking up a lot of penalties. The corner cutting was especially bad. So I think today he's just going to be taking it a little bit easier. He had an easy fourth position in that race, which kind of went a little bit wrong. So he's just going to be taking it a little bit easier today, I would imagine. Trying to avoid making that kind of mistake. Again, we have almost got a change of the lead here. Matiz looking around the outside of Flying Finn, but not able to make it stick. He's run very slightly onto the grass. That's obviously been a very good run that he's got there down the straight. A little bit of a gap, so he's got a good run there onto the straight. Able to challenge him. But so it begins. We know that pretty much every time these two drivers get together, it ends up with someone going off the track. Arctic Avenger is out of this race. He was running in a good position, wasn't he? That's such a shame for FRL. They could have needed a big result in Tier 1. We haven't seen those drivers picking up many points. So I think they've done an alright job. But yeah, Arctic Avenger was running in that battle for 7th. So that is a shame for him.
Yeah, I think he had just overtaken RBZ for 7th. I'm not sure if they've had any sort of instant together, but yeah, disappointment for Arctic Avenger to not bring home some decent points there for FRL.
Yeah, his teammate is currently in 12th, so nothing for them. But I'm just thinking about the championship because they, I think they're comfortable in their current. Down the order, what's happened to him? He's had a spin. He seems to avoid getting damaged though, so not too bad for him. But still far from ideal. He's dropped all the way down to 14th position. And he's also got a big chunk of time that he's got on the game back on the Amazement as well. So, big mistake for him.
Reynolds on all-rounder down the main straight. Reynolds on the supers, all-rounder on the soft. Reynolds going to try and finally get past all-rounder. All-rounder going to try and hold it around the outside. All-rounder goes a bit off the track there, and Reynolds does hold on to the position, trying to get involved, but no space for him there, so Reynolds past all-rounder.
Yeah, Jort making really good progress here, isn't he? He's already back up into 9th place after those problems on lap 1, which saw him running down in 15th at one point. So 6 positions made up in 6 laps. That's a good effort from the Red Bull driver there. And looking like he could be taking another one here with a rounder looking pretty vulnerable. Battle at the lead seems to have spread out again a bit now. It is 6/10 of a second behind. Evo still really close behind Alonso. I think this is the story of the race coming up here. 2 AOR drivers trying to get past the equivalent SDS drivers. So definitely an interesting race ahead. These two very closely matched. Evo getting a good run here down the back straight. Will he have a look into 130? I don't think so. He's way too far back for that. Needs to be alongside, but into the chicane he's going to try and brake late, looking around the outside, but not able to do that as Alonso covers off the line really nicely. Now he's going to try and gear it up for the straight as Alonso dives it into the pits, which is very interesting. An early stop for him as Matiz now looking at Finn, getting a really good run down the straight here. No slipstream glitch today so far, and that is allowing Matiz to really challenge Finn down the straight. And that is going to be causing problems for Finn, I think, because he had a reasonably good gap there, but it ended up being quite tight at the end of the straight, didn't it?
This is, at the moment, he's got some sort of ability to just close in when he feels like it. Yeah, the 6-7 gap, and then that fast sector just goes right to the back of Finn, but still not able to get past yet. I thought that Evo was going to get collected when Alonso went to the pits. That's something I've seen before, but thankfully for Evo, he doesn't get collected. That's one of the on Spice said he's staying close to Evo, and
he is, yeah,
thank you, Alonso. So if any of these AOR or S drivers have an incident together, then Ted is right up there for a podium at the very least.
Yes, that's looking really good for Feisty Ted. I think it is pretty clear that he is the best of the rest. He's got a comfortable 5th place in the championship at the moment. And yeah, he hasn't actually picked up a podium all season though, which is really surprising. We've only seen Jork last week and Trumpa-Rumpa. Those are the only 2 non-AO. In terms of definitely that's been the rest most of these races. Finn also going in early, so like his brother, he's decided to make an early stop going onto the medium compound tyres. Alonso, interestingly, came out down in 14th position, but in free air, so that shouldn't be too bad for him. Let's see where Finn is going to come out on the track. I think he's going to be really close with RBZ, which could be a problem for him. Now, I think he's just going to stay ahead, so that's worked out nicely for him. Yeah. Obviously, on this game, it's more by luck than judgment, like in real Formula 1, where you've got engineers telling you. But that has worked out well for him.
Yeah.
Now he can make advantage of that undercut. But on the harder compound tyres, so if Matiz can go longer, he might be able to take benefit from the softs.
Yeah, just picking up on the softs, I've noticed that Alonso is on the softs, so I'm not sure whether he's taking softs 19 laps or even 20 because he did last lap. I'm not sure whether he's taking softs 20 laps or.
No, it's mediums. It's just showing up wrong on your screen. It's definitely mediums.
I've just put on the. I brought up the telemetry and it says soft even on telemetry, but I don't know if you've got something different on your screen.
No, I've got mediums on my telemetry.
Okay.
Well, it's not, usually the telemetry is the one thing that agrees with each other. But yeah, certainly it would make sense, wouldn't it, if he was going on to the medium tyres? But yeah, okay, we'll have to look out for that. But yeah, that's interesting. Matiz is in. Yeah, that's really annoying. The one thing that you can rely on is usually the telemetry. Without showing it.
Even that strong at the moment, yeah.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Right, let's see what Matiz can do. Finn had that clear air, so I doubt that he's going to be able to overcut him. That is a long shot. But he is also putting on the medium tyres. I think we can agree on that, hopefully. Is that showing up the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. And here comes Finn now. Yeah, Finn has extended that gap quite significantly, hasn't he? That's a big chunk of time that he's gained. I think this is one of the things that we see with me quite often. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that pretty much all the time, Finn pits before Matiz, creates a bit of a gap, and then Matiz is playing catch-up. I get the feeling that Matiz is a little bit too maybe stuck with his strategies, maybe, in terms of when he's pitting, rather than thinking aggressively, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right that Finn does use the pit earlier than Matiz. I mean, Finn was ahead of Matiz, so Matiz probably would have seen Finn coming into the pit, so you'd have thought he would have reacted and gone with him, but he stuck to his strategy and it has lost him a bit of time, although Finn is still getting caught up in the traffic.
Yeah, this is what
midget, so it's getting Matiz catch back up, yeah.
Yeah, this has obviously been a bit of a gamble because he did have that gap, but because these guys have stayed out, B-Pro Midget on the mediums, he'll stay out for a few more laps. Monkey Face Place, you would imagine, will be in pretty soon, but that doesn't matter to Finn because he is going to be holding him up really badly at the moment. Finn looks down the inside into 130R, but that is not happening alongside to do that. And now looking into the chicane, really good line that Monkey Face Place has taken through there. He's managed to carry the speed, keep the position for now, and he stays out for another lap. So this could be a bit of a danger here. Matiz has already closed back to that kind of gap within a second. Finn looking down the inside of Monkey Face Place now, but he doesn't have the straight line speed, does Finn? He's not able to get through. Monkey Face Place keeps the position, but then he runs it a little bit wide. Finn goes around the outside in the end, but so does Matiz. So that has worked out well for Matiz in the end. A struggle for Finn to get through there. He really doesn't have straight line speed.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, Finn really struggling for straight line speed. I'm not sure if he's running, I assume by that he's running higher wings than most of the drivers. Yeah, Finn struggles to get past on the straights there, and Matiz really caught up there within like about 4 tenths, I think now, and it was what 1.8 when he came out of the pit. So this is really closing up and holding up Finn even more. Yeah,
so we've got a really interesting case here now where Midget is going to be even. Yeah, no, he'll be a little bit quicker maybe because he's got the tyres still in a reasonably good condition there. As opposed to Monkey Face Place on the super soft, so that will make it a little bit more challenging possibly for Finn to get through here if he doesn't have that straight line speed. Let's go on board and just see how he's doing. He doesn't seem too bad here. He's looking down the inside into 130R, not quite close enough, and Matiz is really able to close now. He's looking around the outside, side by side. Finn holds the position though. Matiz not quite able to get through, and now he will have the DRS, but so will Finn. Let's see what Finn can do. Can he make the move here on Midget? Actually, sorry, I'm going to go back to being on board with Matiz. I think I can get a better view of what is happening. Finn, yeah, really isn't having... Yeah, he isn't having it easy. He's really struggling to get through here. Midget is going to hold the position into the S's. This is where it gets really interesting now, because this is Matiz's chance to catch Finn off guard in this section of track. Is he going to try something? He's not close enough. Midget just going quick enough not to hold up Finn that much. But yeah, this is really interesting, man. We've seen the other guys come in. STSF1 Alonso is 1.4 seconds back. He's going to be in this battle pretty soon as well. Evo has gone softs, so he could be one to watch out for as well. So really everyone's in play now, thanks to Midget playing his part here.
Yeah, Midget doing us all a favour by bringing this bit a lot closer. I think the only person who's not doing a favour is the Flying Finn. Everyone else being brought really tight together, almost giving Mercedes a chance to get through into that chicane. Couldn't take advantage of it. Midget's still holding up Finn. I don't think Finn's going to be able to get past. No, he's not going to be able to get past. And
No,
the more
you can
that
see Alonso now, can't you?
He's going for it again. Right on the outside. On the outside again. Midget. Staying out for another lap. We're only on lap total, so I assume Midget will stay out for a good few more laps. This is Finn's chance now with the DRS. Can we go to the inside? What a chance for Finn. And he does make the move. Does he? Midget going to try and stick it in there.
Oh my goodness me, what is he doing?
Oh, it's been half spun. Matisse! Oh, he's touched the back of Midget. I don't know if he has damage. Matisse has touched the back of
I think he's
Midget.
alright.
I don't think he's got damage from that. But Finn through, and now maybe he can build a gap. And now Matisse is going to have the problem he needs to get past Midget now.
Yeah, so that's in the end. This has worked out quite well for Finn. He really had to fight for it though, didn't he? Beeper Midget was not giving up that position easily. But yeah, in the end, it's worked out well for him because now Midget is acting as that buffer, allowing Finn to re-establish the gap that he had. Matisse is getting past now, I think, as Beeper Midget runs a little bit wide at the hairpin, but he's not having some pretty good in the length of his tyres. But Matisse now finally gets down the inside, but that has hurt him badly. And now it's all about whether Alonso is going to be able to follow straight through as well. 1.6 seconds, 1.7. Matisse now back behind Finn by that amount. You can see Evo in the background there as well. This battle for second really close, but we've still got Midget to deal with for those two guys further back. Alonso looking around the outside. Oh, contact!
Oh, contact
made between those. It's not too bad. Midget has managed to save the car, but that has allowed Evo to get past on Alonso because Alonso's lost the speed, and Evo on those soft compound tyres looking like he's going to be able to hold the position now going into turn one. And yes, he has done that, so that has worked out really well for NR Evo. He's on the correct tyres now on softs, so he'll have really good pace, and he'll be looking to close down on Matisse. And maybe if he's able to demonstrate enough pace on those tyres, Matisse might wave him through to see if he can close down on Finn, but that is going to be a tough ask.
Yeah. I just want to point it out. I think I've just noticed. Oh my god. So on my telemetry on my screen now, Alonso has flipped super softs. And it's not just on the car that it's flipped. On my telemetry, it now says super softs.
Okay, so my telemetry was my telemetry was right then, obviously on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's on the medium because he's definitely not on the super softs, so he probably is on the mediums.
Yeah, confusing signs coming through here, but yeah, that is good to have that established now. But yeah, I think with Evo, obviously I've mentioned he's got the tyres to catch up, but that is one component in lots that you need to be able to match Flying Finn on this game. So he's also got to be really confident and driving to the best of his ability, as well as having those tyres to be able to catch up. Got to keep those tyres in check. But he has set the fastest lap, and that is a good start to proceedings. Definitely looking good for third now. Feisty Ted is the next guy to get behind, past B-Pro Midget. Midget kind of losing a little bit of speed now, I feel. And Ted has lost out quite badly. He's another one who's gone a bit longer and gone onto the softs like Evo did. But he's lost out to the cars that he was just behind before the pit stop phase. But he's still holding what will be a net 5th position. BPR Midget's coming back at him here. BPR Midget from out of nowhere, looking around the outside of Feisty Ted. I've never seen so much battling from someone who's at a pit stop down. He's lost out in the end to VRT Callum, but this is a real mighty effort from BPRL Midget, fighting for everything, isn't he?
Yeah, Midget not willing to give up easy to it. It's race it. Closing up. Finn is closing up to all rounder, but I'm not sure how much longer all rounders will be going on those softs. And if he's going to want to go longer, I'm not sure how much of the fight all rounder will physically be able to put up with this tyres. I don't know if he's going to put now. All rounder is going to stay out, so Finn could once again be backed up a bit more into Matiz. Never mind, all rounder. Gonna just let Finn pass. I think he's going to do the same for Matiz. Yeah, all rounder doesn't want to disrupt this battle for the lead, so he's going to let both Finn and Matiz through. And it's going to be down to Finn to catch back up.
Yeah, but he's ruined his own race there, hasn't he? He's lost 2 seconds doing that. Well, I mean, I get letting people through and not fighting them, but he's literally just pulled over on the side of the track. I don't understand that. That's a bit strange there. But, yeah, that just feels to me like he's just giving away just 2 seconds of time there, just kind of throwing it away. So, yeah, that's interesting. But, yeah, that does make things a little bit trickier for Matiz as Rounder lets Evo right through as well. He really isn't fighting at all, is he? But he's just pulling over for everyone. I don't understand what's going on. That he's lost. He's losing way too much time. He must have some kind of problem, surely, in the tyres being really worn. Because he's just pulling out of the way of everybody. It's just costing him loads of time.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, if he has got really worn tyres and want to battle, there's ways that you can let them past without losing that much time instead of just pulling straight off. I mean, he was ahead of Finn and he's now, what, 4 or 5 seconds behind him, so yeah, just over 5 seconds behind him, so he's lost about 5 seconds as well around just doing that, so he has trouble with his own race, and he's going to pit now. We'll see where he comes out, but he has trouble with his own race a bit there.
Yeah, very odd. But, yeah, Matiz good though, despite not having a car holding up Finn and bringing that gap back down, he is gaining. That gap is coming down. It's 1.1. It was about 1.5. So Matiz looking good at this stage. Evo not really making too much movement on those soft tyres, keeping the gap, but not really making too many strides towards the front. So I think it is fair to say that early assumption that I made that Matiz and Finn do just have that little bit of an advantage over Evo and Alonso, which they're able to show now. But 11 laps to go. This is looking good for Matiz. If he can keep up this current kind of pace, he's going to be able to be really challenging Finn, especially if he can get within DRS.
Yeah, Matiz sort of getting back to the position where he was in the first stint. Whether they've got to that's a different story. I've just looked at Ted. I don't actually remember who picked up on a different wing damage.
Oh, does it?
To that Ferrari. Yeah, on the right side, right side. It's
I wonder when
a lot less compared to RBZ.
Yeah, I wonder if he's picked that up in that battle with BPRL Midget where they were going side by side for a long period of time. Because
yeah,
he seems to be running all right before then. But yeah, that is going to put a big dampener on his race. He's got a bit of a gap back to EVR Reynolds, who I believe just picked up a penalty as well. But yeah, Reynolds will be looking to close that gap down. And yeah, Ted, from what looked like a comfortable 5th position, is now going to be struggling. He's still battling with BPRL Midget. This battle is going on. He's looking around the outside once again. And BPRL Midget's gone spinning there. We didn't get a particularly good view of that. That camera angle's not brilliant, but yeah, we got the gist of it. BPRL Midget has lost that lane. He's managed to save the car nicely, though. That's the second time he's been put into a half spin and he saved it. So really holding on for dear life to his car. But yeah, Feisted is now finally through. I think that is the end of that saga, which has really compromised his race, unfortunately, for the driver. But he's now gone into the gravel. I think we're reopening the story again now, because BPRL Midget is closing in again. This is just going from bad to worse for Feisted. And we mentioned Reynolds. He's already right behind now. So yeah, Feisted really struggling with this damage. So yeah, it's going to be a struggle for him now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for 10, 3.5 second gap to Callum. I think he's slowly dropping back as well. Callum in a good position at the moment for TWRL actually. It's been a struggle to get points for TWRL, so 5th place would be a good result for them. I think it would be the first top 5 overall in any tier so far this season, so if they can keep it up, it'll be a good one from Callum, and I think it'll actually jump him, no, it won't jump him ahead of all the 15 points back. But yeah, much needed points.
Yeah, we'll just load up the sounds now so I can actually go through that, because we've got a very interesting battle as well for 5th in the League Championship, which is playing out well for RGL in particular today. But yeah, TWRL could put some pressure on FRL. I mentioned earlier FRL look pretty comfortable in that 8th position, but they've got no drivers running in the points at the moment today. So TWRL picking up 10 points will put them within 5 of FRL. So that could be interesting there if Callum can indeed bring it home, which is looking pretty good at the moment. Matiz is 6 or 7/10 of a second behind Flying Finn now, so he's going to be picking up DRS. I think this is where we see the fight opening up again. We got a brief taster of it earlier. I think we're in for the full feature-length film now, in yet another battle in the saga between these two guys. Beginning the stream, this is not enough for Finn at the moment. He will need Matiz to drop out of it. But Matiz won't be worried about the championship. He's not going to stick behind to try and keep it alive. He's just going to go for the race win. That's all he cares about. He realises this championship is over, so there'll be no holding back or whatsoever in this one. And yeah, just looks to me like Matiz just has that little bit more speed, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think Matiz is a lot slightly fresher tyres. I'm not sure how much of a difference this is going to make with all the dirty air. I think that with Matiz being behind in the dirty air, any tyre advances that he had has probably been wiped out, if not gone in Finn's favour by now. I did see Finn get quite a bit of a moment through turn 1, and Matiz closed up, so if Finn keeps making minor mistakes, then Matiz is going to be right there, as it is already. Obviously we've said that Finn's straight line speed seems today rates me deadly.
And he's really closed in, 1/4 of a second that gap. So yeah, Matiz really looking on top of this at the moment, but the hardest thing to do with Finn is get past him. Matiz looks to the outside going into the final chicane, but Finn has got that under braking, and now it's just about this critical run onto the straight, which Matiz has got right so many times that he hasn't been able to complete it in turn 1. This time it looks like he has got that again. He'll be opening the DRS now. He's looking to the inside, but that is covered by Finn. He's now going around the outside, and we can't really see Finn from that view, but he is able to keep that position. And that's a penalty for the Amazement. He's on 14th anyway, so that's not too much effect there. But yeah, Finn looks really confident going into turn 1, and that's the most critical thing, isn't it? If he's confident into turn 1, where is Matiz going to get past?
Yeah, Matiz is going to have to place to pull out some actually. I mean, if Matiz can sort of get a good run out of Dignity, maybe he can make a bit of a lunge into this happen that going through now, because he's not close enough on this lap, but maybe he could eventually. And Evo slowly catching up to Finn and Matiz, so this is, as we go on, turning into a 3-way battle for the lead instead of just Finn and Matiz.
Yeah, I kind of thought Evo was out of this because he wasn't showing that pace, but with Matiz closing up quicker than expected, yeah, he is now in with a shout, because these two guys, I'm pretty sure, are going to start holding each other up. We saw it a little bit last lap with Finn going off the line to defend, and I think that's going to be the case again here now, which is a little bit further back, so he won't have a go into the chicane, but he will once again be trying to line it up into turn 1. But whether he's gone down the inside on lap 1 or around the outside, as we just saw there, Finn has always come out on top, so Matiz is looking like it's a session in. Yeah, Finn holds that position once again, and Matiz has got to slot in behind once again. Let's try and see what happened to All-Rounder. Oh, he's lost it on the exit of Spoon, and quite badly by the looks of it, as he's right on the infield there. So that's gone badly for him. That is critical points for RGL gone. They've only got one driver haven't they,
Yeah.
tonight. There's only one Renault. They scored really well.
Yes.
They scored brilliantly in Tier 2. And it was looking like they were going to be on top in that battle for 5th place. But that is critical for all-rounder dropping out there. Because that allows Reynolds for the F1 League to pick up a few more points. Although I think he's just made a trip into the gravel as Reynolds. Or no, that's just lag. But yeah, that battle for 5th place then. RGL missed out on making it a really good day for them there. Because they're going to be losing 8 points. Which is probably about the amount that they gained in Tier 2. The battle for the lead. Yeah, we could really see Evo closing in. Do you think that Evo can really get close, or do you think he's going to hold back to kind of let Matiz do the fighting?
Well, I mean, I think he's gonna not get too much involved there. He's gonna hamper his own race and maybe get some stuff from wing damage. I think if Matiz gets through, Evo wants following through, and then maybe Evo can attack Matiz. I don't think Evo want to attack both of them at the same time. So either he'll pick up pieces of Matiz, or just wait for Matiz to get through, and then follow him through and make a move on Matiz.
Yeah, and that was a technique that worked for him in Hungary. Obviously, with the carnage, that was where we saw the toughest fight between those guys. Was in Hungary, and at the moment it looks this has been a reasonably tame battle by their standards, but I think we could be seeing this go on, and Matthias starts to run out of opportunities to get this lead. Looking down the rest of the field, we've got really big gaps. This is apart from BPRL Sturm on Amazement for 13th, this is the closest battle on track and pretty much the only battle on track where it is inside the top 10. So all focus for the last few laps, I would imagine, will be going onto this. It is really want to win this. It's been a frustrating season for him. He's shown some really good pace. He's been able to challenge Finn and beat him fair and square on a couple of occasions, but Finn has just had that slight edge overall during the season, and it just seems like most of the time Finn seems to be coming out on top, so Matiz will want to rectify that today. He's got a reasonably good run again this lap, but too far back again, not able to do anything on this occasion. And we've now got 5 laps to go and Matiz is really running out of time now. He's got to start thinking about other ideas, I think, but Finn seems to have picked up the pace a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I think Finn may have been saving some pace behind the still, I'm not sure. I think Matiz had a bit of an error into that second turn. I think he broke on the grass, which has lost him a good amount of time there. And as you said, I think that for Matiz to get past, he's got to try something different. Finn seems to have that move on the straight, and it's someone well scouted, and he's just defending it every lap, so it looks like Matiz is going to be able to make that move at any point.
Yeah. That's kind of the problem with being really close for a number of laps. The person in front just works it out eventually, and you see people like go back in real life, like Vitaly Petrov all the way back in 2010, where the more laps that someone's behind, the easier it is for them to keep them behind. And I think Matiz has probably lost his best opportunity of getting past, which is when he would have just caught up with him. And that's the great thing about Formula 1 racing, is just how hard it is to really fight for those top positions, which we're seeing in this occasion. 4 laps to go now. That gap is looking pretty comfortable for Finn now, I would say. It's not around that quarter of a second we've been seeing, it's more around the 4/10 of a second now, which is much more comfortable. Evo seems to be dropping back a little bit. What do you make of Alonso? A bit of a disappointing race for him today, isn't he? He's quite distant in that 4th position.
Yeah, I think Alonso would have liked to be more involved. Obviously, Evo only just a bit back from his top 2. I think Alonso would be like to be just where Evo is battling at least on the podium and possibly with Matiz, with Finn and Matiz were battling to maybe capitalise on that. But yeah, it's been overall, it seems like a pretty disappointing race from Alonso to be 6 seconds off Evo.
Right, let's go back to that battle at the front once again. 0.3 of a second round, 130, which is what we usually see with that little bit of slipstream helping him. And then this is the critical run, which Matiz in the last few laps hasn't got right. I think that was an interesting line there that Matiz looked, that looked like he would have picked up a warning for that, I would imagine. But it has allowed him to really get a good run. This could be the opportunity for him. He's looking around the outside, and he is just slightly in front. Now he's got to really hold it. Finn pushing him off, but not really in the end. I think Finn did just about give him space, but I think Matiz was Finn was angling his car to a way that Matiz thought, yeah, I've got to back off here. So, yeah, I think that was good defensive driving by Finn. Aggressive as always, but in this case, completely fair. And going in as Matiz has got that in a little bit. 3 laps to go, and he's challenging once again. Is that a little bit of weaving I'm seeing by Finn? Surely it can't be. We see this. Usually they usually end up weaving when they're angry with each other, but I don't think there's anything to be angry on either side from that particular bit of racing. But yeah, maybe Matiz has got a bit of go back here. He looks to be challenging a bit more now.
Yeah, I think Matiz maybe was just taking a lap or two to just step back and refresh, maybe save some fuel in the process, and now he can attack Finn to come into the chicane. There's another one where he's actually gone for the outside line this time. He's going to try and get a nice switch back. He's all over the back of Finn now. I think this is the closest he's been, maybe. It was definitely the closest been to that chicane. And now the DRS, HM Finn is going to bump Matiz. Going to try and go around the outside of Finn. He's further ahead this time, but Finn going really late.
Yeah, that one was a bit more on the edge, wasn't it?
Yeah. It looked like Finn may have just squeezed him off the track a bit there, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what Finn was kind of threatening to do last lap, but it didn't happen. That did happen, definitely, that time round. Evo really into play now. These two are really hotting up, as we thought, the last few laps, where it really gets interesting, and we've got a lot of support here in the chat here. Oh, Matiz, he's going through. What's up there? Is Finn letting him through?
Yeah, Finn definitely let him through there. I'm guessing maybe Finn wasn't happy with how he squeezed Matiz there for turn 1, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, Finn definitely let him through there.
Wow, I'm really surprised by that. Did not strike me that Finn might let him through after that. Okay, different now. Matiz has managed to get through, not by overtaking, but by kind of threatening to overtake and managing to obviously put Finn in a position where he didn't want to keep the position. Could work out well, obviously. If he thought he was at risk of getting a penalty, then he would have dropped down into 3rd. So maybe this will work out well for him. But he's now got only 1 lap to go, and Finn has got to get back through. This is certainly not what I was expecting going into the last lap. I thought it would be another case of Matiz trying to get through. But he's got the gap now, and Finn is behind. And this is looking really good for Matiz now. It's all turned on its head. He's got a 3.5 tenths of a second gap. That's looking really good for him, and Evo just not quite close enough in the end. I think he's going to end up in 3rd position unless something changes at this last moment. Finn now dropping further and further back. I think Matiz has got this. I'm really surprised. I can't get over this. I'm shocked that he's done that, but he has clearly let him through, which it's a very strange turn of events. I did not see that happening. That's definitely something to ask him in the podium interview, but I think that's chance gone now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Finn is going to just overtake him. He's keeping just over half-second gap. Best overtaking opportunities are pretty much done, so unless Matiz even makes a big mistake into that final corner, there should be his race win. Evo getting quite close in the end, but just not close enough to challenge Matiz or Finn. Really close in the end, but just not quite there. Obviously, Finn was probably going to win the race, but thought he squeezed him a bit too much. Matiz
Yeah.
comes across the line and wins the Japanese Grand Prix, Finn in second and Evo in third, all very close together.
Yeah, and Alonso still, despite all that battling, a distant fourth, as we said, disappointing race for him. VLC Callum is going to take a really good fifth position for TWRL. That's one league. RBZ has managed to pass his teammate Feisty Ted on the last lap. So they're going to be 7th and 8th for SRL. And Monkey Face plays in 9th with BPRL Midget on to pick up the final point. So all that fighting that he did on those medium compound tyres has worked in the end. He's looking like he's going to pick up that final point. Another point for BPRL. They've scored in Tier 2 and they're going to score in Tier 1 as well. They've really got going now this campaign with BPRL, scoring consistent points after a struggle at the beginning of the season. But there we go. An end of another interesting race. Certainly not what I expected whatsoever. But yeah. Yeah, that's seeing most people positively reacting to what Finn has done. Maybe thinking that that was an unfair move that he made on that penultimate lap where he stayed in front. And it was aggressive, but we've seen past. I'm just surprised that he suddenly thought, oh, maybe that's not correct. Certainly something that he's done in the past at Hungary. But
I mean, maybe Finn thought they just overstepped the mark a bit today. Pushed the limits a bit too hard, and thought I should have let Matiz pass. But yeah, like I said, quite a bit of a surprise to us because obviously those two are very hard battling always. So for Finn to just let it through seems quite strange.
Yep, but I suppose we're going to talk to them now. If you could invite them now, that would be great. Our podium sitters. And then I will run us through our final finishing order while that's being done. Double podium for AOR. They've made some points back on STS. Obviously, the championship not gained today for Finn. It's down to 28 points. So it could go down to the final round now, actually, if Matiz can outscore him next time out. But in terms of the league championship, it was 112 points going into today. That has gone down. Yes, it has gone down. So that is also kept alive. So going into the penultimate round of the season, both the league and drivers' championships are still up. But our final results then: RG Matiz, Flying Finn, NRL Evo, STS F1 Alonso, VRT Callum, EVR Reynolds, Feisty Ted, RBZ, Monkey Face Plays, BPR Midget, ESR Simon, Jork 94 in 12th, BPRL Stern 13th, Amazement in 14th, and then our DNFers were All-Rounder and Arctic Avenger. But yeah, not the best race of the season. We've definitely had some better ones, but another fantastic fight there at the front. Always, we're getting accustomed to it. Just waiting for the other guys to come into the chat. And then we'll be able to get underway then. So I will start with the race winner then. Of course, RG Matiz, and an interesting race there. And in the end, you were able to pull off the victory. But going into those last few laps, obviously we had a lot of racing at turn 1. And just wondering about your opinion on those racing at turn 1 and about the obviously that move at the end that able to get you through with the being let into that position.
First, I want to say class act by the Flying Finn. Like honestly, and I knew he probably knew as well that it wasn't completely fair, but I actually let me through. Like fair play, man. So yeah, I knew I had to make the move into turn 1 because it was either that or the hairpin, and the hairpin, yeah, it doesn't really work. So I had to do it in turn 1. So I just kept covering it. Yeah, I came so close every single time, but I really wanted to like make the move stick and overtake him that way, but yeah, I got just pushed wide a little bit twice, and fair play to him, they let me through. So I knew this was going to be a really, really good race from practice as well. I knew my pace was pretty much equal to Sully, so I knew it was going to be with him going on the same set of tires, unlike it in AOR. I just knew it was going to be a really, really good battle for the win, and yeah, it's what turned out to be.
And I'll take you back as well to earlier in the race, maybe some not so pleasant memories of battling with Beeper on midget.
Yeah.
And yeah, some interesting times as you've really fought hard there. And did you think at that point where you were losing time that maybe it was going to be a little bit...
I knew I could get back to Sully because I knew my pace was just really good. It's probably my favorite track on the game. And from Midget's point of view, I understand he wants to keep battling and defend his position, but it was a bit dangerous. Like, he almost took all three of us out. I don't know exactly what happened with Sonic behind me, but it was really, really close. It could have been way worse. So, yeah. I wasn't too bothered about the gap because I knew I could get it back, but I'm more gutted for probably Sonic because I think he suffered quite a bit from that.
Okay, so you can talk to our second place man then, Mosley?
Yeah, Finn obviously he held on for so long in most of that race, defending Mitch's attempts into turn one, and obviously let him pass. Just want to get your thoughts on, defending him all race, and then just feeling like maybe you overstepped the mark a bit in the lane.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to Matthias and AO on the win and the double podium with Vivo as well. And the race was pretty tense the whole time. But the first time I pushed Matthias wide, I think that was just about borderline. But the second time, I just lost the car on the inside because I had to keep a tight line. Otherwise, I would have ended up pushing Matthias on the first part of turn one. So I just held in tight, and on the inside there's marbles. So I just slid wide, and it was only fair to give him the place because I just completely shoved him off the track. So yeah, my hope was to give the place back and catch him back with slipstream, but I literally had no slipstream on the straight. He was gaining 3-4 tenths maybe, but I was gaining nothing on the straight. So we got it, but it was the right thing to do, and congratulations to him. He was just a quicker man today, and my thoughts on Midget, I have no idea where he picked up his racecraft, but he needs to improve a bit because I've gone past him and suddenly he just dive bombs me into turn two, my car sliding, and I got about 3-4% extra tire wear from that. It was just ridiculous, but yeah, I can understand why he's batting like that. It's fair enough. I'm all for these guys batting us, but at 130 hours on his inside and he just completely turns into the corner. So I had to back out that into USA maybe, and from there on, I don't know. It was a good race. I enjoyed it. It was tense, probably the most tense race I've had on this game. So I enjoyed it. Finishing second is not really too disheartening because, like I said, a quicker man won today. So fair play to him, and just look forward to the next one.
Yeah, fair play to you for letting through. I'll pass it back over to you, James, to take over Revo.
Yeah, so we're talking to our third place man, very close to the in the lead, and obviously in Hungary that worked out really well for you, didn't it? When we obviously had that little bit of a coming together, which allowed you to take the victory. Did you see something like that happening again today, Eva?
Well, I was just cruising behind them, being there if something happens, but luckily it don't happened. So yeah, apart from that, my race was pretty boring. Was just in third the whole time. I don't know what happened between Midget and Sunuk though, which allowed me through then. Yeah, don't know what that was.
That was... Yeah, I think it was Sonic had the inside line going into the second part of the chicane. I don't think Midget quite saw him on that inside bit. So yeah, they just kind of clipped front right to rear.
Oh, okay.
Right, so that is our top 3 runners. Another interesting race we had here in Japan. And as I said, both championships are alive. And they could technically go to the final round as well, obviously, therefore. So plenty of reason to continue on watching in that respect. We're at USA next time out, which will be interesting to see how track limits are on that. That could be something to watch out for. And certainly looking forward to another one there. The PS4 stream is underway. They should be in qualifying now. Yeah, we'll see you again. Obviously, Tier 2 at 6 PM, and then Tier 1 directly after that. So, goodbye from me, and goodbye. And yeah, we'll see you then. Goodbye.